All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to the LMN Live Virtual Training Classroom. My name is Chris Davies. I'm the Senior Education Specialist here with LMN, and today we're going to be looking at creating your jobs, or more specifically, we're going to be taking a look at creating design build jobs in your LMN accounts. So why are you guys here today, and what's going to be in it for you? Well, you're here because, well, you probably want to learn how to create a job, right? So that your crews in the field can actually know what they're going to be doing. And more importantly, so you guys can get paid. But realistically, you're here today because, again, there's a couple steps involved, or there's a couple pieces to putting together an actual job in your account. So far in your virtual training series, you guys have learned about more or less the number side of things, right? We've learned about your budget and how you guys can appreciate or at least understand or get a good feel of your costing, as well as how you price your work out to recover those costs. And of course, we put together an actual estimate so that your customers can review that proposal and, of course, agree on the work that you're putting forth for them, right? So again, now that we've done that, now that the customer said yes to our proposal, well, we want to create a job so we can start doing the operational side. So again, we've covered off the numbers. Now we want to start taking a look at operations. So you're here today to basically learn all the nitty gritty there is to basically job creation in your LMN accounts. So what exactly are we going to be covering in today's session? Well, let's take a look at our agenda. Number one, we're going to start off with the basic job settings. So this is yet another tool that's available for you in your LMN platform. So we want to get you guys set up for success. We're going to first show you guys how you can create a job from an estimate. So again, this is going to be, well, kind of the easiest, or more importantly, the recommended way for you guys to create your jobs in your accounts. Because realistically, when you create a job from an estimate, all the data that was contained within that proposal or within that estimate in the first place transfers over into the job. So a lot of the work is actually done for you. Now, on top of that, we're also going to be taking a look at users in your account and how you can get users set up so additional colleagues or coworkers of yours can also interact with your LMN platform. Now, we're also going to be taking a high-level look at the LMN Crew mobile app today. So again, just going to give you a brief rundown on how the LMN Crew mobile app works and how you guys can basically configure it for your purposes. Now, we'll also take a look at how you guys can review and edit timesheets for payroll purposes. So for those of you that are administrators or, division managers or ops managers, okay, you're going to be reviewing timesheets that your crew submit at the end of every day, and we want to show you how you can do that. Now, we'll take a break, okay, at some point, and also want to make sure that everybody knows how to create a job from scratch, because again, this is going to happen where you're not going to be required to put an estimate in front of your customer. You're going to get a phone call to say, hey, I need this done, or I need this done. And you're going to quote them over the phone. They're going to agree, and you need to create the job for it. So we want to show you how that job can get created in your account. Now, more importantly, or I guess more commonly, this case or this reasoning, okay, is going to happen when you're doing time and material type work or per visit flat rate work. Okay, so again, where you're going to just generate one bill for the customer and so on and so forth, right? Again, very, very straightforward work. Contractual work, like, full-fledged installations, those would require a proposal. But when you're, again, from time to time, a customer may call you up and say, look, I've got a bare patch on my lawn of 400 square feet. Can you put some new sod down? Right? Or, I've got a garden bed. I could use some mulch applied, and stuff like that, right? Those are basically T&M or flat rate pricing. Now, also in conjunction with the LMN Crew mobile app, we're going to show you guys how you can review live crew locations and overall job progress. So again, like I said at the very beginning of today's session, we're going to be looking at more of the operational side in the next 2 hours versus the numbers, right? Numbers we're good with so far, right? You've had enough of that, maybe. And if not, well, hey, make sure you sign up for one of our next budget and price list or CRM and estimating sessions, and we'll go through it all over again. But more importantly, we've covered off the numbers. Now let's start taking a look at the overall operations. Now, Just a quick reminder that when you guys are attending any of our live virtual trainings, if you have any questions at any given time, let me know. Okay, there's a chat button at the very bottom of your screen. Throw your questions at me there. Okay, I have no problem pausing or answering those questions in this live environment. Okay. The demonstration that I'm going to be walking through today is going to look a little bit different than yours because, well, you are your own company and I am my own company. So again, things will look a little bit different, but it should be relatable. Okay. And of course, as I'm going through some of the setup steps or some of the setup processes, feel free to work alongside me, okay, to get your own account set up or to maybe make adjustments to your account, whatever the case may be. And if you get stuck anywhere, let me know, okay? Hit me up on that chat button and I will try and, well, dig you out of that hole that you got yourself into. But I'm hoping that you guys are going to be A-okay moving forward. So the first thing that we really want to start talking about is what exactly is a job or what are jobs in your LMN account. Well, jobs essentially, so I guess somebody forgot to pay our lighting bill. Maybe didn't include it in our overhead expenses. But anyway, what are jobs in LMN? Well, again, this is the operational side of things, right? The job is what you're going to be scheduling, what your crews are going to be reporting their time against, and so on and so forth. So again, the operations. Now, what is the benefit for you to start creating jobs in your account? Well, number one, we're going to eliminate paperwork, time theft, and data entry mistakes. Now, let's take a look at each one of those examples or benefits individually. Who enjoys paperwork? Nobody, right? I don't enjoy it. You don't enjoy it. And this is probably one of the main reasons why you now are going with an LMN business management software, right? To again, eliminate paperwork. We want to have everything on our computers. Well, that's essentially what we want to do with your overall operations as well. We don't want you to be basically giving your crews out paper schedules or a clipboard or a binder that has all the information about the job site. If they have it available in a digital environment, such as their mobile device, or maybe you guys are using tablets in your trucks, whatever the cases might be, again, it's all concise data and it's all in one spot. And remember as well, okay, you guys have unlimited storage capabilities within LMN. So there's not a limit to how much information you can provide about a job. Okay, it's all available within the LMN Crew mobile app, and your crew members are going to be able to access that information at any given time. So again, it makes them more efficient in the field. Now, time theft is another huge issue in the landscaping industry, and it may not be happening in your company. And if not, that's great. Okay, but for a lot of landscaping companies, this does happen, and it's more relatable, or I guess it happens more often with companies that are recording their times, their start and finish times on paper. Okay, and again, we want to eliminate that. So if a crew of 4 individuals, for instance, okay, just as a brief example, okay, that, rather than writing down that they actually started their shift at 8:30, okay, they started their shift at 7:30 and they wrote it down on a piece of paper, 7:30 to whenever, okay, you have no way of verifying that information. Okay, oh yeah, I guess they could have been there because you trust your actual crews. And that's fine, right? Trust is a big thing, but it's also a two-way street. Now, if that same crew were to do that 5 times a week, well, that's going to be 20 hours of payroll that you guys are going to have to cover for nothing. Okay, that's time theft, right? So the LMN Crew mobile app, okay, you guys are going to get accurate start and finish times. You'll also be able to verify where the crew was when they started their time with GPS location services. In addition to that, if the crew decides to edit their time from, let's say, 8:30 to 7:30, you're going to see that they made that edit and what time they made that edit and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, we're going to eliminate time theft for you guys so that you are not having that unexpected expense, okay, for payroll. Now, the last part about this is the data entry mistakes. Now, as good as LMN is, okay, we're human. We make mistakes, okay? We can type in something by accident or in error, right? So when you guys are doing a little bit of data entry, okay, then occasionally there are going to be some mistakes. But, okay, I digress. Yeah, my 2-cent word of the day. So when you guys are learning about LMN and you're learning the overall flow of how LMN works, from the budgeting all the way through invoicing, you guys are going to get a good understanding of the overall flow and the processes involved. So we're going to help you guys to eliminate data entry mistakes by automating as much of the actual features within LMN as possible. So again, you guys already know, or you've already learned, that when you put your budget together, it basically tells LMN how you should be pricing out your work. And again, that's kind of done automatically. All you need to do is enter in what the actual cost is of that item, right? Of that, labor item, or that material item, or that equipment item, and so on and so forth. That way, when you're adding those line items to your estimates, everything's getting calculated out for you. There's not a whole lot of manual entry, okay, or data entry that's being done. You're capturing information that's already been set up for you in your accounts. Okay, so again, we want to eliminate that, but okay, we're not going to eliminate it completely. Okay, just keep that in mind. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes from time to time. We just want to mitigate as many of these mistakes as possible, right? So again, they're going to become few and far between the more comfortable you guys get with your LMN accounts. Now, as an operations, or looking at this from an operations perspective, okay, as division managers or ops managers, or maybe even the owner of the company, you want to know where your crews are, what they're doing, and the overall progress of an actual job. So LMN will be able to provide you that information in real live time at any given time. So if you guys want to actually check out a job and see how many hours you've logged against it, or what's been used on the job so far, and so on and so forth, you can see that. Okay, you'll also get a good idea as to where the crew is, what time they started, where are they, and so on and so forth. Now, for time and material type work, okay, this makes things really, really easy for you guys as well, because we'll be able to give you material tracking capabilities so that you can bill out accurately. So if you guys are doing a sod installation, for instance, and you're going to be billing labor by the hour, and you're going to be billing for every roll of sod that you lay down, well, your crews are going to record or note how many rolls they lay down, and their start and finish time will track how many hours they work accurately. So again, it makes things really, really easy or simplified for you guys to actually generate that invoice. And unfortunately, you're going to be learning about invoicing next week, right? We're not going to be talking about that today because, again, with 2 hours, there's not a whole lot of time, right, to get into that kind of thing. But, okay, we will be covering off invoicing, and we will be covering off how your crews can assist you guys with actually creating invoices for you in your LMN account. Now, the last part about this is obviously LMN is a business management software, right? We manage your business. We manage your numbers. We manage your operations. We do not do the accounting side of things to a degree, okay? That's QuickBooks. So a lot of the information that you guys are recording in your LMN accounts can be exported over to QuickBooks. And again, whether you're using online or desktop, doesn't matter. Okay, we do work with both features, okay, and both options. So again, estimates can be exported, timesheets can be exported for payroll, invoices can get exported, payments can get exported, and so on and so forth. All of that information can be exported over into your QuickBooks account to settle up, obviously, your accounts billable and accounts receivables, right? Really nice and simple. So to get started with jobs, and by the way, guys, if there's any questions about any of these benefits or anything that I've covered off so far, again, please feel free to hit that chat button at the very bottom. If everybody is okay to continue on and to start getting into the actual job creation, do me a solid and hit that react button at the very bottom of your screen and give me a little thumbs up, and just to make sure that we're all set to go. All right, perfect. Starting to see them fly up my screen. Good to know. All right, so let's get into our actual job settings. Now, there are a few things that we kind of want to get set up in your accounts to make creating jobs really, really easy, but more importantly, how to automate a lot of the background work for you, okay, in your actual element, and in your actual LMN accounts, right? So let's jump into LMN together, okay, and let's take a look at some of our settings. So first things first, when you first log into LMN, okay, what we're going to be doing now is going into our main settings menu. And as many of you guys have already learned, okay, that's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So again, going into your settings menu, we've covered off estimates, we've covered off the CRM, we're now getting into the jobs, right? So again, one setting applies to the next setting, this setting applies to this setting, and so on and so forth, right? Again, just like our tool menu is laid out in the left-hand column, our settings menu is laid out the same way. So the first thing that we want to do in your accounts, okay, is set up the different types of jobs by focusing on the job types settings. Now, what this allows you guys to do within your accounts, okay, is actually diversify your work a little bit further, okay? So if you guys remember in our estimating session, okay, we talked about divisions, right? You've got your design build division, you've got your maintenance division, you've got your snow and ice removal division, if you do snow and ice removal. You know, potentially you've got an irrigation division. But design build work has a lot more, I guess, different types of work that you guys could be doing, right? You could be doing hardscape installations. You could be doing patio installations, pool installations, driveway installations, fencing installations, deck installations. The list goes on and on and on. So what we can do in LMN to assist you with this, to help you guys to understand what type of work that your crew is actually going to be doing, is by now creating different job types, okay? So what you guys can do in your accounts is set up different job types. So again, you've got your design build overall division, but maybe I want to set up enhancements. Maybe I want to set up lighting. Maybe I want to set up, pools, okay? Whatever the cases might be. You do have the ability to, again, differentiate, okay, what types of work that you're actually doing within your actual design build division. So to do this, okay, first click on the add new button up in the top right-hand corner and enter in what that type of work is, right? So I've already got enhancements. I don't have lighting, okay? So I'm going to add one in here for lighting installations, okay? And I mean, it could be something as simple as like pathway lighting or driveway lighting, or it could be Christmas lights, right? I mean, depending on where you are and what you do, right? You may be an actual landscaping company that, puts up Christmas lights for people. And oh, by the way, if any of you guys do that in the Toronto area, please let me know, okay? Because I just don't feel like doing it this year. But more importantly, okay, you've got your lighting installation, right? This is the type of job that this is basically assigned to. Now, you then want to indicate if this is a production type job. Are you producing something, or are you billing for this type of work, or is this non-production, right? Non-productive or unbillable, okay? Down the very bottom, it will then ask you for what feedback do you want to capture from the LMN Crew mobile app from your crews in the field after every one of the daily visits, okay? So again, if I'm on site for 5 days doing lighting installation for a customer, big property, okay, I want to know what you accomplished after every single day. So all I need to do is go into my task notes and make sure this is turned on so that my crews, when they're actually interacting with the LMN Crew mobile app, they actually indicate, okay, what did we do today? We did this, we did this, we did this, whatever the case may be, okay? Just enter in their notes. Now, additionally, you can enter in weather comments. Now, weather comments is not something that your crews are going to have to manually enter, okay? We don't like manual, so we want to automate as much as we possibly can. So as you guys are probably just like me, and every morning before you make your way to work, okay, you guys check your weather app to see what the weather conditions are like. Do I need to wear a sweater today? Do I need to wear a jacket today? Do I need to wear a toucan hat or a toucan gloves? Okay. And, that's for my Canadian friends, by the way. It's a beanie cap. Okay. But more importantly, okay, that weather app, okay, gets that weather information from the cell tower. Well, LMN and the LMN Crew mobile app are also getting the weather information from the cell tower because you're using the LMN Crew mobile app with a data signal, okay, or with a cellular signal. So that information that's populating the information in your weather app will also populate for your weather comments. So I would recommend for every job type that you guys set up in your account, or for any job type that's already preloaded in your account, turn that feature on, because again, it's not something that your crews have to do manually. It's captured on every single job or every single timesheet entry that's captured in the field. And again, it's just useful information. Maybe there's a delay in the project. Well, you can see why, because maybe the weather was bad that day, okay? Whatever the cases might be, it's a simple little on-off feature. I would recommend you turn it on. The next feature is equipment comments. And I want everybody to really understand or be 100% clear that the equipment comments feature does not have anything to do with job costing. Okay. This is not a job costing feature at all. This has got nothing to do with it. What this feature allows you guys to do is track certain pieces of equipment in the field for the duration of the time it was on the job site while your crew was there. So again, if you've got a skid steer or an excavator or another specialty piece of equipment that's being allocated to a job site, you would be able to track the amount of time that it's been spent in the field or maybe even on that job site. Okay, so again, this is an equipment comment. Your crews would just select from a list pieces of equipment that were on the job site for that particular day. Now, I understand, okay, or we here at LMN understand that a lot of you are using, GPS tracking devices for your vehicles and for your equipment. Okay, this is just another add-on feature where you can actually start extracting reports, okay, to get a good timeline on pieces of equipment. All right, again, maybe you want to use it for maintenance scheduling or whatever the cases might be. But again, this is a feature, again, nothing to do with job costing, but it allows you to kind of get an idea of a piece of equipment and how long it's been used in the field or how long it's been spent in the field, okay? Now, in order for this feature to work, if you guys are interested in using it, okay, I'm going to click on Save for Now, okay? Under my settings menu, I'm actually going to go over and jump ahead to my timesheet settings and actually go to my equipment, okay? Because this is recorded on timesheets, okay, it's part of our timesheet settings. So essentially what I want to do here is I want to basically add in any of my specialty pieces of equipment, okay, like a backhoe or a bulldozer or a loader or a mini X or a skid steer, okay? Again, I don't recommend using, entering in your crew truck or truck and trailer number 1, truck and trailer number 2, okay? Obviously, your truck and trailer were there because your crew's there, right? So they had to get there somehow. They didn't fly. So it kind of gives that automatic impression that your trucks are used every day anyway. Okay. So again, we would probably recommend using this feature for those specialty pieces of equipment, ones that are, limited to, how many hours they're used so that you guys can get them maintained or, updated or whatever the cases might be. Now, in conjunction with setting up the pieces of equipment and recording that information in your job types, okay, LMN will allow you guys to run a report, whether you guys want to run this annually, biannually, quarterly, whatever the case may be. Okay, if you go into our reports feature and look at your job reports, okay, job report number 15, okay, will allow you to actually run a timesheet equipment by job, okay, and it's in Excel. So again, very, very simple report to run. So again, I can run this for, let's say, the last quarter, for instance. So let's say that would have been what, July through October. So I could go to July through September. Okay. And we can go back here to September 30th. Okay. Click on submit. Okay. And I'll get an Excel report. Okay. That will allow me to view any pieces of equipment that were tracked on a job site. And of course, the start time and the end time that my crew was there, and so on and so forth. Now, because this is also in Excel, this will also be allow me to use some of my filters. So again, this loader that I'm looking at, rather than filtering by all pieces of equipment, maybe I just want to see how many hours the loader's been in the field. Okay, so far we're looking at 5 total hours, right? Now, my colleagues maybe are not recording this as good as they should be, but you kind of get a good idea of how this works. So again, all you guys need to do is just populate a list of certain pieces of equipment that you guys want to get a good idea on how many hours it's spent in the field. Okay. And again, you can run this Excel report. Okay. Again, the only reason I'm bringing this up is in a past session. Okay. One of the guests asked me if there was a report so they can see how many hours a piece of equipment has been used in the field. Ta-da, there it is. Okay. So again, okay, it's a handy little feature. If you want to use it, use it. If you don't, that's up to you. Okay. But again, I find it kind of helpful. Now, the next piece of creating job types, okay, or the next prompt, okay, that's going to make your lives easier or make your crew's lives easier. Okay, so if I go into my lighting installation, I want my weather comments turned on. I want my equipment comments turned on. The last one is my drive time shortcut. Okay. This will allow your crews to easily, okay, track their windshield or drive time. Okay, so again, if that's unbillable time or you just want to separate actual driving versus productive on-site job time, okay, you guys should have this drive time shortcut turned on. And I recommend that you turn this on for every job that you guys have. Okay, so that way your crews can log the amount of time they spend driving from the yard to the job site, or if you guys are doing maintenance work, for instance, driving from one job site to the next job site and so on and so forth. Okay. Again, it's logging that time throughout the course of the day, but it's also, okay, one of the biggest concerns that we hear about with our LMN Crew mobile app, and for those individuals that are not logging their drive time, is gaps in their timesheets. Okay. So if there was a 20-minute period of time where they were driving from site one to site two, okay, well, you want to be able to capture that, not have an actual, 7:30 to 10 o'clock, we were on site one, and then we started at site two at 10:30. Well, what happened in that half an hour? Okay, we can actually record that they were driving from site one to site two. Okay, very, very straightforward. So again, do yourselves a favor, and every job type that you guys have got set up in your accounts or that you plan on setting up in your accounts, make sure that the drive time shortcut is turned on. Okay. Now, one last little feature, and this applies to those of you that might be using QuickBooks Desktop, and it applies to the actual job types themselves. If you guys are using QuickBooks Desktop, okay, one of the features that QuickBooks Desktop allows LMN to basically export over, okay, is the type of work based on maybe a rate of pay. So in some cases, you guys could be offering your crew members or your employees different rates of pay for different types of work. So for instance, okay, maybe an employee gets $20 an hour for maintenance work, okay? But when they're doing design, build, or construction work, they get $25 an hour. And when they do snow removal work, maybe they get $30 an hour. Well, rather than you having to go through that timesheet and figuring out what type of job they were working on and figuring out how to allocate the hours and then going into QuickBooks and making those adjustments, you can actually set it up by the type of job. Okay. So by creating a payroll code that matches against your actual pay structure in your QuickBooks account, anytime a crew member clocks into maintenance jobs, they get paid at maintenance wages. Your maintenance wages are $20 per hour for this individual in their account, might be $21 an hour for another individual, and so on and so forth. When they clock into a design build job, they're now getting the design build rate of pay. And when they clock into snow, well, they're getting paid at the snow rate of pay. Okay. So again, it automates things in the background so you don't have to. Now, this is a feature that I understand will be coming to QuickBooks Online at some point. Okay. But currently, it is only available for QuickBooks Desktop users. Okay. So all you guys need to do is set up payroll codes that match against the types of payroll or the variations of payroll like you've got in your QuickBooks account. So again, maybe get your accounting professional with you or your billables person with you, okay, and kind of set that up. But again, if you're using QuickBooks Online, you'll have to do it the manual way. If it's QuickBooks Desktop that you're using, you can automate it, okay? So it does make things a lot quicker for you. So that essentially, guys, is job types. Now, the next thing that we want to get set up in your account are defaulted tasks, okay? So when you guys are putting your estimates together, in your terms and conditions, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? And maybe confirm in the chat button, okay? You say, yes, we do that, okay? But in your terms and conditions, okay, rather than creating a line item or creating a work area on your actual estimate for changes and extras, maybe you've got a paragraph or a block of text in your actual term and conditions that states something to the like of, for any changes or extra work above and beyond this contracted proposal, we will charge you X amount of dollars for labor plus materials and equipment. Okay. And again, it could be something to that extent or to that degree. So if you guys don't mind, hit that chat button at the very bottom of your screen and let me know if that's something that you guys are putting in or including, okay, in your terms and conditions for your estimates. Okay. I've got one no. Anybody else? Anybody with a yes? Well, here's maybe a better question. If your crew are on a job site and your customer asks them for some minor extra work while the crew is there, do you want to record that time separately, or do you want to record it against the original planned job? Okay. So also you guys consider warranty repairs. Okay. Warranty repairs, although you don't expect to ever do them, they might happen. And if they do happen, do you want to track the time for that from your actual crew members or employees while they're in the field? So if that's a yes in any of those instances, okay, we can actually set up something called a default task that automatically gets added to the job, whether it was included or quoted in the original estimate or not. Okay. It will also get created if you guys create a job manually, okay, or create a job from scratch in your accounts. So again, it's tied to the job types that we just talked about. So for instance, okay, if I'm talking about extra work and changes, okay, this is a default task that will get added to every design build job type, okay, and be allocated to our design build accounting software, or sorry, the design build portion of our accounting software, okay? And again, we're going to be tracking our hours and rates for billing by the hour for this because it's extra work or a change. Now, I understand change orders. Don't get me wrong, okay? That's a different side of things, okay? But I'm just talking about slight changes or any extra work that your customer requests while you're on the job site, okay? You can log your time specifically for that, okay, and charge by the hour for that, okay? Additionally, you guys could also have warranty repairs, okay, as a defaulted task. So if, okay, there is something that needs to be fixed, you can go back and clock into that and log the hours against doing that fix rather than the overall job productive time itself, okay? Now, essentially what this allows us to do, guys, is make things automated for us in the back end, okay? Without having to include it on an estimate or without having to, you know, make sure that it gets added to your job, it will do that for you, okay? So again, for any design build job that I create in my account, okay, I will get extra work and changes and warranty repairs automatically added to that job just in case, okay? It doesn't have to be there, okay? But it's there in case something like that comes up, okay? So again, it's just automating a couple things in the background for you. Now, the last thing that you guys are going to be concerned about when you're setting up your accounts for job creation for design build jobs, okay? We can skip services because services are only used for maintenance work, okay? So skip that, okay? You'll learn about that in tomorrow's job creation for maintenance session, okay? Well, we'll cover it again. We've already covered it once in the estimating session, but we'll cover it again. Okay, but now what we want to do is we want to build out your hourly rates. Okay, and your hourly rates is basically when you're doing any T&M or hourly billing. Okay, so we know or we can automate what that actual charge per hour is going to be, and it's charge per man hour. Okay, it's not charge per crew hour, it's charge per individual per hour for when they're clocked into something like that. So you guys need to set up your hourly rates. Now, here's a quick question for the group. Where is the best place for you guys to figure out what you need to charge for your hourly rates? You've already built this all out. Okay, so where in LMN can you find this information easy so that you can build out your hourly rates and know that you are going to be covering your costs and making some profit? Anybody? Budget equipment. Mike, you're close. Hourly rates for your labor. Maybe that's more direct. Where are you going to find that information? How much you need to charge per hour? Chris, budget under your labor burden. Okay, so those are two factors, right? Budget and basically identifies your cost. Labor burden, okay, is the additional expenses you guys have as far as your costs are concerned. But remember, we're setting up an hourly rate so that we know what to charge our customer. So where would you find that information? You've already done it. Your price list, okay? Your price list labor, okay? Your labor line items. You guys have already built these all out in your accounts, right? You guys have already determined what the cost is per hour, per employee, okay, for a particular crew. So then all you guys need to do is take this information and figure out what the actual markups are going to be. Well, actually, you don't need to because LMN does it for you. We're going to mark it up for unbillable time. We're going to mark it up to cover our labor burden costs. We're going to mark it up to recover some overhead. We're going to then mark it up for profit so that we know that we basically need to charge, right? If I make this $45 per hour, okay, I'm making 31% profit on this hourly labor. So $45 per hour on my installation crew of 3 individuals, that's the hourly rate that I need to set up. So if I go back into my settings, okay, and then set up my hourly rates, I can set up a design build labor rate for hourly work, a maintenance hourly rate for hourly work, irrigation, okay, warranty repairs is not going to be charged, but if it's beyond warranty or after warranty, okay, then you can charge for it, right? And so on and so forth, right? Excavation, if you guys need to charge for that, how much are you going to charge for that? Okay, $85 per hour, and so on and so forth, right? So again, consult the price list because that's already helped you guys out to determine what your actual final price to your customer should be. Okay, and then start building out your hourly rates here. Okay, that can be included in any time and material type work. Okay, really straightforward. You've already done the work. Now you're just adding it into another area. Okay, really straightforward. So to add in a new hourly rate, click your add new button, enter in what that rate is going to be called. Is it per hour? Is it a flat rate? And what that rate amount is, and if it's taxable or not. Okay, so remember different states and provinces. Okay, maybe you can charge tax on labor, maybe you can't. Right, so just indicate that. Okay. So that's basically your settings, okay, in relation to overall getting ready, okay, for your actual job creation process. Okay, so if there's any questions on any of the settings that we've talked about so far, again, hit me up on that chat button at the very bottom of your screen. Okay, so now that we've kind of covered that off, okay, and now you guys are set up to start creating your jobs. What is the absolute easiest way for you guys to create a job in your account? Well, that's from an original estimate. Okay, so the estimate that we put together yesterday, okay, for those of you that were in attendance for our CRM and design build estimating session, okay, we're going to take that estimate now that it's been approved, right? We walked through how you can send that proposal over to your customer. Your customer can view the proposal, they can approve it, okay? It automatically gets updated so that we know that it's sold. We can now then take that estimate and convert it into a job, okay? So let's take a look at how we can go through those additional steps. So first things first, let's find that original proposal. Okay, so I'm going to go into my standard estimate list, right? Remember, it's design built, so it's a standard estimate. Okay, we're going to look at the one that we created on November 19th. Okay, we can see here that this estimate is already sold. Okay, so again, we can see here that the estimate status, and if you guys remember with our default status mapping feature, okay, when a customer accepts your proposal or clicks in the portal that they agree to your terms, okay, it will automatically be indicated as sold for you in your actual estimate list. Okay, so when you guys are creating a job from an original estimate, we would generally recommend there's 3 things that you guys should be checking first before you just go ahead and create your job. Okay, now don't get me wrong, you guys can create as many jobs in your account as you want. Okay, there's no limits. Okay, create jobs at any point in time. But if the customer hasn't, number one, agreed to your proposal, why create the job? Right? Now, there are other things that you might want to take a look at too, but we'll cover those off when we talk about those 3 checklist items. So, okay, checklist item number 1, make sure the estimate's been approved, right? Again, that's kind of your indicator, okay, that we can now go into our next checklist item. Checklist item number 2 is ensuring that you've got all the notes that your crews are going to need or the instructions that your crews are going to need to make them more efficient when they're doing the actual work in the field. So in this case here, I've got the garden patio. Okay, so again, 40 by 40 with garden bed in the northeast corner of the yard. Okay, they already know how to do the patio. They already know how to do the garden bed. Okay, so again, I just kind of did this really quickly. The walkway lighting, I've given them a list of tools that they're going to need, and of course the overall installation process. Maybe they're new at doing lighting. Okay, so again, they've got some information there as well. Okay. Now, the next piece to this, okay, so that's checklist item number 2, making sure your crews have the information or some basic instructions of what they need to do while they're on the job site. Piece number 3, okay, is ensuring that you've got your contract set up. Okay, again, we want to automate as much as we possibly can, okay, for your entire team. Okay, so your estimate gets created. Okay, we've automated the approval process or the rejection process by, the default status mapping. Okay, but what we want to do now is we want to automate, okay, the information that's going to be found in the actual job when you create a job from the estimate. Okay, and the contract is part of it. Because once this job gets created, we want to make sure that we can bill for this job, right? We want to charge our customer for this job. So in that case, okay, we want to make sure that we've got our contract turned on. Now, the next step to the contract can be taken in a couple different ways, okay? In some cases, we may have deposit invoices, okay, that need to get paid off first. And if that's the case, okay, before you even create your job, okay, in the actual jobs list, okay, in your LMN account, you guys can, if you want, okay, generate an invoice for the deposit, okay? And then, of course, once the customer's paid that deposit, then you can go ahead and create the job, okay? Again, there's no right way or wrong way to do it. Otherwise, create the job, then send the customer the deposit invoice. No right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever you guys are comfortable with or whatever makes it easier for you moving forward, okay? So if we have a deposit invoice, we can generate it here, okay, by clicking on this invoice button, click on yes, okay, and it will now generate an invoice for us that we can now send to our customer. Okay, very, very straightforward. Okay, I'm going to delete this one for now because we'll talk about this a little bit later on when we talk about invoicing, okay, next in our invoicing session next week. So 3 things that we want to check. A, let's make sure that it's sold. B, let's make sure our crews have the instructions that they need to be efficient while they're on the job site. And C, okay, let's make sure that we've got a contract set up. When those 3 things are itemized or checked off your list, okay, you can go back to the work areas and pricing tab, or you can go to the customer info tab and click the create job button in the very bottom right-hand corner of your screen, okay? This button does the exact same thing on both pages. So it's entirely up to you which one you want to use, okay? There's no right way or wrong way, okay? So if I click on this create job button, okay, you'll notice here now that I've got a job that's actually gets created because I'm importing the estimate into my jobs list. So I know I've got my job name, I've got my job type. So if I decide that I want to change this type of job from design build to maybe enhancements, okay, I now have my garden bed and patio and my walkway lighting, okay? Now remember, or hopefully you guys noticed when I made that change, I removed a couple of the default or a couple tasks that were already involved, right? So again, let's go back to design build, extra work and changes to be billed out hourly with 0 estimated man hours, warranty repairs with 0 estimated man hours included, okay? Not billable. This is for any design build job. These are the defaulted tasks that I assigned to the design build job type. Now, my enhancement job type doesn't have default tasks assigned, so I'm not including any when I create this job, okay? So very, very straightforward. Now, when I click on import now, okay, my job will get created in LMN, okay? Now, one thing that you guys will notice or should notice, okay, that when a job is created from an actual estimate, okay, so if you guys are putting together estimates and you're getting your jobs created in that fashion, if you go back to your actual estimate by clicking on the view estimate button, you'll notice at the very bottom of the customer info and the work areas and pricing tab, okay, that create job button has now changed to view job, okay? So now we can actually view the job directly. So rather than having to try and find the job in your job list, if we know the estimate that it came from in the first place, we can instantly get moved over to our actual job. So if I click on view job, it will take me back to the actual job screen that we just landed on when we created it in the first place, right? So keeps things really nice and easy. Additionally, okay, you guys will also get a shortcut notification in your jobs, or sorry, in your estimate list. So if I go into my standard estimate list, okay, and I look up that actual estimate that we just created, right, that one for Mark Johns at 638 Irwin Crescent, okay, and we click on this button here, it will automatically take us to the job because the job has been created. So again, it's just another shortcut that will take you from an estimate to a job, right? So we keep everything linked together automatically. So again, if I want to go back to my job from this estimate, I just click on this job feature and it takes me to the job as well, right? So again, really straightforward, really easy, okay? And again, really handy for you guys when you're looking for jobs from original proposals, okay? So in the job, okay, what actually comes over? We get our customer's information under our job info and settings or the primary overview page. Okay, so we get the basic information. We know the job name, the short name. We know what type of job it is. We know the job ID number from the original estimate and so on and so forth. We know it's from Mark Johns, who gets billed at 107 William Booth Avenue, but the job is at 638 Irwin Crescent, right? All of that information is populated from the original estimate. Okay, no stretch, right? Really easy. What does get added is GPS coordinates for that job site property in conjunction or with some help from Google Maps. Okay, so again, because we've actually tied in a couple features like our site measurement tool and so on and so forth with Google Maps, they will actually get the GPS coordinates of that job site. This is going to be handy for you guys moving forward, especially when you're looking at live crew locations, okay, and comparing where your crew was when they clocked in versus where the job site is. Okay, so again, just kind of a little precursor to something that we'll be talking about in a short. Now, if I go into timesheet tracking, I can see the two punch in tasks that's going to be used to track our time on this job: the garden beds, okay, or the garden and patio project, and the walkway lighting project. Okay, those are the two tasks that are going to track our time. We don't have any services, okay, but we don't have any hourly rates either, okay? So if, okay, we had a warranty repairs task added to this, what we would need to do is add in our hourly rate for our warranty work and potentially add in our hourly rate for, sorry, not for warranty work. I apologize for that, guys. You're not going to add an hourly rate for warranty work because it's free to the customer, not to you, but it's free to the customer. Sorry. Changes and extras. That's the default task I meant. Okay. So if you want to add that task to the job, you still can do that here, but add in the hourly rate as well. Okay. So that you know what to bill the customer if they ask you for any additional work. So sorry. Hopefully I didn't cause any confusion with that. Okay. Now, also within the job, you're going to get a history and photos feature, okay, where any timesheet that was recorded on this job or for this job site will be available for your viewing here. Okay, so you'll be able to see who clocked in, when they clocked in, any notes that they left, any photos that they uploaded. Again, all that information will be available in your history and photos tab. Now, the materials and equipment, everything that was contained as line items in your original proposal are now available here as well. Okay, so now you've got all the materials and all the equipment that you guys originally contained within the estimate are now available in your materials and equipment tab. And finally, you can see that this job has been turned on for invoicing and you have your invoicing schedule already set up. Okay, and you can see here that we do not have an invoice created yet, even though it says November 20th, because that's the one I created a little bit earlier. But if I wanted to create the deposit invoice now for this actual job, I could click on plus invoice and now generate the invoice for the deposit. Okay, so again, it keeps things really straightforward and nice and easy. I generally would recommend creating your job after the deposit has been paid. And if you're using that deposit to order the materials for this job, maybe wait until the vendor confirms, okay, when the materials are going to be available or when they're going to be delivered, and then create the job. Entirely up to you guys how you decide to do it. But again, just some feedback that I've received during some of these sessions, as well as some of our live in-person trainings, right? So again, kind of keeping everybody up to speed, okay? So again, doesn't matter how you guys do it. So that's basically creating a job from an actual estimate. So it's really, really easy, really, really straightforward, and generally the way we would recommend that you guys create your account or create your jobs in your accounts. So our best practices around job creation, again, export your estimates to create a job for time tracking, because everything that's in the estimate is going to be available in the job for you easily, okay? When you guys are looking at your jobs list, okay, you can sort your jobs by the date created to find those imported jobs easy, okay? You can sort your list from oldest to newest or newest to oldest, okay? The work areas that you guys created in your original estimate, so the garden beds and patio and the walkway lighting in that example, okay, those are going to become tasks that your crews are going to clock into to log their time on the job site. And of course, the crew notes that we talked about, or checklist item number 2 in the estimate, okay, those will become your actual task notes to give your crews the necessary instructions to be efficient while they're on the job site, okay? So it keeps things really, really nice and easy, okay? So that's basic job creation in a nutshell. If there's any questions, please feel free to hit that chat button at the very bottom, and I will answer any questions that you guys have. If everybody's cool, okay, hit that react button at the very bottom of your screen if we want to move on to adding users into your account. All right, perfect. So we're all ready for that stage. Okay. So the next thing that we want to cover off in today's session is adding different types of users to your LMN account. And in LMN, there are essentially, well, 2. Okay, if it were, I mean, realistically, it's 2, but kind of like 3. So the reason I'm saying that is regular employees or field laborers, okay, are your first level of employee that can be added into your account. So you'll need to add in everybody that works for you in the field, right? So all your laborers need to be included in your account. Now, crew leads and administrators essentially have been combined, okay? So even though you've got a crew lead, you also have administrators. We do kind of combine them as one type of user with limited permissions, okay? So again, crew leads and administrators both have access to our LMN Crew mobile app. Both can clock in crew members like you see here in the foreman listings, okay? But an administrator has more privileges within the actual desktop software, okay? So again, they can use crew if they happen to be out in the field, but they can also use estimating. They can use the price list. They can use the CRM. They can use the invoicing tool, and so on and so forth, okay? Now, an administrator can also set other users' permissions, so what they can use while they're actually interacting with the LMN platform. So to add users in your account, okay, essentially what you guys are going to be doing is under your settings, okay, you're going to be going to manage users and staff, okay? And under your manage users and staff, this is where you are going to be adding in your users, okay? And this is also where you can filter your users. You guys know by now that LMN loves filters, right? We love keeping things organized. So this is essentially the best way to do it, okay? Creating what we call a staff group, okay? Staff groupings, okay, essentially allow you guys to group different staff members together. Maybe I want a group of all my office staff. Maybe I want a group of all my design build qualified staff. Maybe I want a grouping of all my foremen or all my crew leads, okay? All my irrigation specialists, all my maintenance specialists, whatever the cases might be, okay? You can create staff groups to filter your list, okay? So again, at the top of your page, if I want to look at all of my design build specialists, okay, that's my list, okay? If I want to look at all of my foremen, there's my list. If I want to look at all of my office staff, there's my list, okay? And so on and so forth. Now, realistically, your staff list is everybody that works for you, okay, in your company. And that's the way it should be. Now, if you want to add in anybody because you've just recently hired a new staff member, you're going to click that little green plus button down the very bottom. Just like a lot of the other fields that are available in LMN, you're going to either add new or click the little green plus button. Now, what you're going to be asked to do is first enter in or decide, okay, what type of crew member are they? Or so what type of employee are they? Are they an office staff or crew lead, or are they a crew member? Now, LMN, okay, with our subscription levels, will let you guys know how many seats you have available based on the type of user that you're adding into your account. So for me, for instance, I have 23 office staff or crew leads that I can add to my account, and I'm going to be adding in 22 or one against that 23. If I'm adding in a crew member, that's going to count against the, 15 that I already had, but now I'm adding in more. Okay. And of course, you can always prepay for blocks of staff to make it a little bit more economically friendly for you guys. Okay. So if I'm going to be adding in a crew member, okay, it will then ask me, will this crew member have LMN Crew mobile app permissions? Yes or no, okay? Now, we'll talk about the LMN Crew mobile app shortly, but for now, okay, every employee that you guys have in your company can access the LMN Crew mobile app if you so choose. Employees that are working in the field, for instance, may want to be able to track how many hours they've been recorded on their foreman's timesheet, okay, or how many hours they've been accounted for in a weekly period or in a pay period. Okay, this is all viewable in our LMN Crew mobile app. So again, if you want them to have access to that feature, make sure you turn that on. If you don't for the first little while, then turn it off. Okay. Now, if you want them to have access to job history, any job that they're clocking into or any job, that's up to you as well. Okay. But now you want to add in their contact and sign in info for the LMN Crew mobile app. Okay. First and last name, their email address, their phone number, and create a username for them. Okay. That's different than anybody else. So again, you probably have a style or a format that you're already working with your crew members when it comes to usernames. So just follow that and add it in. Okay. Once you've done that, you click on save. You can then take that staff member and update what permissions. Okay. So at this point in time, this is only applicable to crew leads or administrators. Okay. But you want to go into payroll. Okay. Enter in their employee ID number, enter in what their normal working hours are per day. And obviously, if you want to have a payroll warning that they've worked more than those hours per day, and if they're paid salary or not. Okay, straightforward. And then, of course, you can add them into one of your staff groups. Okay, keeping it straightforward. So if I click on cancel for now, okay, and actually, we're just going to go back to discard changes. We're going to add in a crew lead. Okay, so if I want to add in a crew lead member, okay, so we click on a crew lead. I want them to have full access to the crew mobile app. I want to give them contact and sign-in info. This is now where the permissions come into play. Okay. What will this employee or what will this user be available or have access to in the LMN system, whether it be budgeting, estimating, CRM, the price list, the forms library, okay, anything about the timesheets, adding in editing, okay, are they a crew lead user or are they an admin user, okay, so on and so forth, right? Timesheet approval, no access or access. Again, these are on-off switches that you guys can turn on. These features or these permissions are only available, okay, for crew lead or administrative users, okay? Permissions is not something that you guys need to worry about for any regular employees, okay? The ones that are just generally working for you, okay? Now, once you've added in, okay, your actual employees, one thing that you guys are going to need to do on top of just adding them into your account is identify what their actual wage costs are. This is going to help you guys with job costing moving forward, okay? So if I go into my actual profile, okay, and I look at editing my staff member profile, okay, under time tracking and payroll, one of the other features that becomes available once that crew member has been added is wage cost information. So this needs to be updated, okay? So what you guys need to do is add in your wage cost. So here I would enter in what that individual's salary is or what their hourly rate is, whatever the case may be. What date was it effective as? Okay. how many hours they work on an annual basis. Again, you can use your budget's forecasted man hours. Okay, again, another feature that budget will help you guys with. Okay, the budget will also let you know that you're using your 2024 fiscal budget, which will then capture what your labor burden expenses are, or your markup needs to be for your actual expenses, and how many weekly overtime hours does Chris normally work. So if this is basically, because he's salary, he doesn't get overtime. But if it was a regular employee, you could say that this employee generally works 2 or 3 hours of overtime a week. So if I put in 3 and then click on add, okay, I'm going to add in a wage cost of $30.53 to account for their hourly wage, plus their expenses over and above with their labor burden and any overtime that they could potentially be working this week. Okay, so that's what Chris costs me, okay, on a man-hour basis. Okay, so this is very important for job costing. So make sure that if you've already started adding in your users, you just quickly go in and double check, okay, that you've got their wage cost set up for them. Okay, it does make things a little bit easier for you guys when you're actually using the job costing feature that we'll talk about in another session. Okay, so that's basically adding in your users into your account. Okay, so we got a question here. Is our employee list able to be imported into LMN to auto-populate these fields and import them into the system, or does every user have to be entered manually? Brett, I apologize for now. It is a manual process as of right now. So I apologize for that. But yeah, it's not an automatic thing or anything that can be imported directly in. But good question. All right. And appreciate the thumbs up, even though I gave you maybe a not so great answer. But yeah, and it is what it is, right? Unfortunately. But we're looking at automating it in a future update. But as of right now, unfortunately, it's just not possible. So that's adding in your crew members, okay, or adding in your staff members. So the next thing that we want to cover off here before we take a break, okay, is the LMN Crew mobile app. Okay, we want to show you guys just again a brief overview on the app itself, right? Just again, high level view into the app. Okay, we're not going to go into it in too much detail. If you guys are interested in getting an actual crew lead perspective on the LMN Crew mobile app, keep in mind that every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time, okay, we do have LMN crew lead training, okay? So if you guys are interested, okay, and you want to get a little bit more information about how our LMN crew mobile apps from a crew lead perspective, okay, go to your help and resources menu in your LMN account, okay? Look at our actual live virtual training calendar. And if you guys are available for tomorrow's session, click on tomorrow's session and get registered for it. If it's next week, then register for next week's session, okay? But it's 8 a.m. Eastern every single Thursday. We offer this training to all of you guys as users, okay? But for today's purposes, we're just going to take a very high level look, right? But more importantly, why do we care about the LMN Crew mobile app? Well, number one, it's easy to use, okay? It is very, very easy to use. I mean, yes, it does need a little bit of training, okay? But realistically, once you get into it and once you start, playing around or practicing with it, it's like second nature, right? It becomes really, really easy. Now, its importance is basically for you to be able to track hours, labor hours for your payroll. Okay. And again, it creates your timesheet so that you guys can approve those timesheets, export it over to QuickBooks, and pay your staff for the hours that they've worked. But it will also track job progress. Okay. So the other benefits of actually using our LMN Crew mobile app is you're not going to be any payroll hours. So those uncomfortable conversations that you may be having with crew leads or with employees about missed hours are going to become few and far between, because your crew leads are going to be responsible for their start and finish times each day and how many hours they work. Okay. It's kind of like that old clock, right, that you punched into, but now it's in an app, right? And who doesn't like using an app? We'll also be able to provide you GPS verification on crew locations. So just like a job has GPS locations of where the job site is, we'll also be able to track where the crew was when they started their time, okay? And when they finished their time, that's it, okay? We can't see them at any other time of day, but only when they're on the clock, put it that way, okay? The crew app will also provide you guys with accurate job and material tracking. So again, overall job progress, how many hours we've worked on it, how many hours do we have to bill for on an hourly rate, how much material did we use, what pieces of equipment did we use, and so on and so forth. So the crew app is a great tool for you guys for time and material type work, especially if you cannot be in the field. If you're sending a crew over, it will get accurately billed out by the man hour. So each employee that's actually doing that time and material job, it will track each of their hours, bill it out accordingly, plus any materials they used, billed out accordingly, and any equipment they used, billed out accordingly. So again, really, really easy. Now, for design build, we're not really putting too much importance on optimized routing, okay? Because generally with design build work, you are going to one job site for a day or a week or 2 weeks or a month, however big the project is, however big the scope is, okay? But with maintenance, okay, there's chances are more likely that you're going to be doing multiple job sites throughout the course of the day, where you're going to be going to residential customers to do mowing visits or even snow removal visits. You know what I mean? Like if you're doing any of that type of work, then we want to optimize the routing, right? Minimize drive time, maximize on-site productive time. Now, the other cool part about this, guys, is that it's instant data, okay? So the data that's recorded in the field is automatically available for your viewing purposes, for your viewing pleasure, okay, in your LMN mobile or in your LMN desktop software, okay? So again, it's all automated for you in the back end, okay? And again, it's instantly available from your crews to you back at the office. So let's take a quick look at the LMN Crew mobile app together, okay, and give you guys an idea of how the actual LMN Crew app actually works. So the first thing that we want to do here, okay, oh, and sorry, Mike, you did have a question here. Give me a second here. Why does wage code not showing on our system while entering or editing existing employees? So Mike, what you'll need to do, okay, is ensure that your permission to add wage cost has actually been turned on, okay? So if you go into account info and you go into permissions, okay, there should be a permissions under under adding and managing staff, okay, with full access. You need to make sure that you've got full access with wage cost information. Okay, so you just need to make sure that in your system, under your permissions, you may not be able to edit yourself, but maybe somebody a little bit higher up, they might be able to add it in for you. Okay, you're the account owner. Okay, well, Mike, you should be able to do this. So make sure that you go into your, oh, I'm set up as a crew lead as not a actual, I should be set up as an administrator. So hold on. If I'm set up as an administrator, okay, let me share my screen with you so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so number one, make sure that you are set up as an admin with security permissions, okay? And then down at the very bottom, okay, under adding timesheets, where is it? I know it was here, maybe it's been moved. Adding and managing staff, okay? Where it says add and manage staff, make sure that your full access is changed to full access and wage cost, okay? If you don't see wage cost in any of your employees, that basically means you have full access to see them, but you just don't have the actual full access with wage cost updating privileges, okay? But as the security admin or the account admin, you're the grand poobah here, so you should be able to see everything, okay? Okay, so make sure that's turned on. Does that work okay for you, Mike? Everything cool? Thumbs up or a yes? No? Okay, so number one, just quickly, okay? Number one, at the top of your page, okay, make sure that you're set up with admin access for everything, okay? And that you've got security admins turned on. So you're not a crew lead, okay? And then make sure that you've got full access and wage cost for adding and managing staff. And then you should be good, okay? If you need help with that, let me know afterwards. Yes, you got it. Okay, you're turned on now. I'm seeing yes, yes. So I'm going to assume that means you're good to go. Thumbs up. No. What I would recommend, Mike, is once we're done the session, if you're still having issues with this, okay, unfortunately, we can't do a one-on-one, but maybe reach out to our support team on chat, and then they'll walk you through the steps on how to make sure that it gets turned on for you. Because as a security admin or as the account owner, okay, you should be able to do this, okay? Additionally, I see here that we have a hand raised. I think a Mr. Bryant. David, you had your hand up. Did you have a question? If you did, hit the chat button at the very bottom of your screen. Everybody good? Okay. Oh, David, that was by accident. Okay, no worries. Okay, just wanted to make sure, right? Again, don't want to leave any questions unanswered. So again, I thought maybe you did have one, but good for letting me know. Thank you very much for that. All right. So guys, let's take a look at our LMN Crew mobile app. So let me just get my phone connected here. Okay, so the LMN Crew mobile app, okay, how does it basically work? Okay, number one, make sure you've got it downloaded onto your devices, right? So again, you want to make sure that you guys have the app downloaded. So if you're Android or Apple, it doesn't matter, download it onto your devices. If you're an administrator or a crew lead or office staff, everybody should be able to have this on their device. LMN, because you guys are entering in their phone number and email into their user profile when you guys are setting them up, okay, you can also access the LMN Crew mobile app with those two features or with those two pieces or credentials, right? So the phone number and the email make it really easy, but those are two-step verification processes. So if I were to enter in my phone number, okay, which has been used before, and I click on continue, I'm going to get a text message from LMN to let me know that I've got a 6-digit code. So again, I click on continue. Okay, I will receive a text message at the very top of my screen. So there it is there, allow. Okay, 355906. Okay, copy to clipboard. Click on there, 355906. I can log in. Okay, two-step verification. Now, if I were to use email, it's the exact same thing. Okay, you enter in your email address, LMN will email you a 6-digit code. You would enter in that email address. Now, the other option when you guys are getting set up with your actual crew app is by logging in with your username and password. Okay, so the same username and password you use to log into LMN is the same username and password that you would use to log into the crew app. Okay, and if you have Spanish-speaking individuals that work for you, they can convert the entire option screens or all the menu screens to Spanish. Okay, so we have English and Spanish fully available in the actual LMN Crew mobile app. Okay, now my Spanish is no bueno. Okay, so I'm going to go back to English and I'm going to just kind of go through that process one more time. Okay, there's my phone number. I'm going to get that text message. Okay, click on those buttons, click here and paste. Okay, and now I can log back in. Really nice and easy because I can't type worth anything, right? So my typing is horrible, so I would rather not do any of that stuff. So we're going to type into, we're going to clock into Big Mac Landscaping. Okay, same company that we've been using before. Now, on your screen, okay, when you guys first log in, it will be blank. Okay, and this will be blank for your crew leads because they haven't done anything today yet. Okay, so each day when they log in, it will be blank. If they have an open timesheet that they want to look at from the day before, they can just use the little menu button at the very top or the calendar option at the very top and click on the 19th or the 18th or whatever if they had an actual timesheet already open and running. Okay, that they did, that maybe they forgot to enter in or they forgot to submit at the end of the day, whatever the case may be. Now, a cool indicator for that, okay, additionally, is if you scroll through, you'll be able to see these little lines here at the bottom of each of the actual calendar dates, okay, will be green for submitted timesheets and red for open and unsubmitted timesheets. So your crew leads should be checking this on a regular basis so they can see which of their timesheets are yet to be submitted and which ones have not been. Okay. See, we've got a question here. Is the crew leader training available in Spanish? Unfortunately, not yet, Chris. It is coming. It is something that we're working on. However, okay, I'm going to be showing you guys something in a few minutes that may help you with your Spanish speaking employees. So hang tight, okay? I will actually show you guys something that is available, okay, that might help you guys when it comes to Spanish speaking individuals in the meantime. All right. So next, okay, if I go back to the 20th, I want to basically get this set up for me, okay? So in the little hamburger menu in the very top of your screen, you're going to notice here, okay, that number one, this page pops up, which gives me my overall pay hours or my hours logged for the current pay period, okay? If I want to see the hours logged for the last pay period, okay, I could go into my app and say, well, from November 11th to 17th, so the week before, I want to see my hours. Okay. And again, by closing that off, okay, it will always give you the current pay period. But if you want to see hours in the past, okay, just click on that screen and you can adjust your pay period. Now, your crew members, their access to the LMN Crew mobile app, remember we said you can turn it on for everybody. Okay, those employees will also be able to see this information so they can track their own hours or validate or verify their own hours. They will also be able to see which hours are regular hours, which are overtime hours, and which are double time hours. You can also see the status of those hours. I can see that these have been submitted, but they have yet to be approved. Okay, so again, that's on a submitted timesheet from last week, but they've yet to be approved by my manager. So I can send them a quick text message, or I can, if we're passing by the coffee machine, say, hey, buddy, do you mind approving my hours? Whatever the case may be. Okay. Additionally, within this, okay, another cool feature that's available in the LMN Crew mobile app is our link to Greenius. So if you guys are using our Greenius platform for industry training, right, or safety training, okay, your crew members or crew leads or administrators can access their learning plans or the courses that they are been instructed or asked to take directly from the LMN Crew mobile app. So by clicking on my training and entering in their training ID number and then clicking on continue, it will actually bring up, okay, all of their courses that they need to take, and they can take it directly in the LMN Crew mobile app. They don't need to go into the Greenius app or into a computer or anything. They can take it in the actual app itself. Okay, really nice and easy. Now, because I've been set up as a foreman, I can also do crew tracking. And what essentially this allows me to do is I can see where every employee that I have visibility to is currently working. If I want to look at one individual directly, I can click on their name and see where that individual is currently logged in and what the job site is. If I want to see everybody, I can click this little slider at the top, okay? And it will now open up everybody's information, okay? I can see where every single staff member is currently clocked in or where they're currently working on, okay? And again, for today, for yesterday, or whatever day of the week, okay? Really nice and simple. So now, the last things that we want to start talking about are your basic settings, okay? So when you click on the settings menu, okay, again, this is also where you can switch it from English to Spanish. So again, I can switch over to Spanish or back to English. But number one, you need to make sure that your GPS location services are turned on, okay? We can only see, or more importantly, you can only see where a crew member is with their GPS location services turned on when they're on the clock. So when they are on your payroll and you are paying them, okay, that's when you're going to be able to see where they are. When they clock into a job site, okay, when they're driving, okay, all of that information, you can see exactly where they are, what they're doing, okay, with GPS location services. So please ensure that your crew leads and employees all have this feature turned on. So make sure that this feature says allowed, okay? Next, for your crew leads that want assistance with mapping, okay, or route guidance with Google Maps or with Waze or another mapping app that you might be using, make sure this is turned on. And of course, you do have the ability to select which version or which app you want to use when you guys are getting this mapping service. Okay, so again, I use either Google Maps or Waze, so that provides me with those two options. Okay. Now, for those of you that are using Android devices, your screen will look the same as what mine does. For those of you that are using Apple devices, it will basically just have one option for notifications. Okay. Again, it's not anything from that LMN's done differently. It's basically um, a difference between iOS and Android. That's it. Okay. It's just different stipulations or different design protocols, but they both do exactly the same thing. Okay. So push notifications are things like those text messages that I was getting for that 6-digit code. Okay. I want those turned on. Okay. In the future, LMN will be updating the LMN Crew mobile app so that if anything gets added to a job or what have you, or you need to notify your crew in the field of something, you want that push notification to come through the Crew app, that feature will be used. Okay. So again, you want to make sure that that piece is turned on. Reminders and alarms is our next piece, okay? Because some of your crew members might be forgetful. And again, this is an Android feature. Notifications are for iOS, so make sure that's turned on, where you can now set up the actual notifications of when to start your day, when to submit your timesheet, when to do that on the Saturdays or on a Sunday, and so on and so forth. So again, because I'm very forgetful at times, I want a reminder at 7:15 every morning, okay, that I need to start my timesheet for 7:30 every day, okay? And at the end of the day, I need a timesheet or I need a reminder just to tell me that I need to start or I need to submit my timesheet for myself and my crew. Now, these are going to pop up as notifications, just like that little text message did with where that 6-digit code. But when you click on that notification, it will automatically take you back to crew. It will automatically take you to the timesheet and it will automatically allow you to submit it. So again, you're not fumbling around in the app or trying to find the timesheet. It takes you right to that point. So you know that you need to submit your timesheet. Okay, really nice and easy. Now, again, if you work a Saturday or Sunday or both, you can turn the notifications to also be included on those days. Or if you remember everything because you're perfect, well, turn the notifications off. Okay. Now, down the very bottom, on mobile phones only, not on tablets, unfortunately, but on mobile phones, we have something called haptic feedback. Okay. And this is for our developers. Okay. Now, this is a really cool feature. Right. Again, you guys can agree with me or disagree with me, but I think this is really cool. So if you guys notice and look at the little window with me in it, you can see here that I'm holding up my phone. If you shake the phone, okay, look what pops up on screen. Okay, it allows us to capture if there's anything going wrong with the actual app from the users in the field. So your crew leads, your foremen, your crew members, you as administrators, whatever the case may be, if there is an improvement that you think we should work on, put it in here. It will automatically capture your username's attached email address, put in a description, do a screen recording, do a screenshot, select files from your gallery, enter in a little message. And this goes right to our development team. Okay. So they know exactly what needs to be fixed. So again, rather than trying to find a form in the actual app, all your crews have to do or your employees have to do is shake their device and that will pop up. Okay. I think it's really cool. Hopefully you guys do too. Okay. So again, very, very easy to use. Okay. Now, of course, we've got our terms and conditions, and of course, we've got our privacy policy down there at the very bottom as well. Okay. So that's basically, again, a very high level view of how to get set up with our LMN Crew mobile app. Now, as a administrator, divisional manager, ops manager, again, whatever your role might be within the company, at times you guys are going to be required to edit timesheets, review those timesheets, and of course, approve those timesheets. So how are you guys going to do this in your LMN account? Well, basically what you're going to do is in your accounts, there's a couple areas that you guys can basically kind of get used to or start practicing with. The first one here is your actual timesheets tool itself, where you can see under the timesheet list, all the timesheets that are currently in play. Okay, we're going to do show me later on that one. Okay, so in this case here, over the last 7 days, I can see which timesheets are currently in play and which ones are currently in progress and which ones have been submitted. Okay, if I want to look at the last 14 days, okay, I can see that same information, which ones need to be approved and so on and so forth. Okay, if I want to look and see what each staff member was doing, okay, let's look at the last 7 days. And if I want to look and see what Chris was doing on the 13th, okay, I could open that timesheet up and I can see that he was doing snow removal with Dwight, okay, from 2 a.m. until 6:37. So for about 4.5 hours, that's what he was doing, okay? I can also see if I want to edit anything here, I can do that because this timesheet has been submitted, okay? But what it will ask me to do is throw it back in or make some edits to that actual timesheet, okay? That's the only time that you guys can do that, okay? Your crew leads can also only edit their timesheet when it's in a pending or when that timesheet is open. When they've submitted their timesheets, they cannot edit their timesheets any further, okay? So again, if you've turned that permission on, they can. If you've turned it off, which I recommend, okay, they cannot edit their timesheets once a timesheet has been submitted. Basically, the times have been locked in or the data or the information has been locked in, okay? Now, another area that I would highly recommend that you guys look at is the daily review screen, okay? This is where you guys can actually see what's going on a daily basis. So if I look back at November 8th, okay, and actually if I look back at November 13th, I believe it was, no, what day was it? I know there was a day around the 8th that we had some information. There we go, okay? You can see here that on November 7th, okay, we had 2 crews out in the field that day, Jay and LMN Academy, and you can see what exactly they worked on. But as well, at the same time, you can also see that the crew member or the crew lead has also attached some photos. Now, you're probably wondering, why is LMN Academy in black text and why is Jay in red text? Well, because Jay has actually uploaded a photo that is critically important for you to be able to view. So in this case here, if I go over to and open up the actual sheet, right, because this is normally what it's going to look like. If I open up the sheet and click on view photos, I can see why Jay actually posted this photo, right? And he was just posting it because he actually got the job done. So it's not critically important, but your crews can actually mark a photo as critical, meaning they've noticed some damage on the job site when they arrive, or maybe they broke something while they were there. Okay, maybe they damaged the property. Take a photo, or maybe they got, maybe somebody hit them. Okay, and they want to take photos of the damage. Whatever the cases may be. Okay, it's critically important to the office. Now, these photos are instantly available to you guys under the daily review tab. Okay, so the daily review should be something that if you are overseeing crew members, I apologize, guys. I've been talking for what, an hour and a half and a little dry. Apologies for that. Anyway, if it's critically important that the office know about something that's gone on in the field, they should mark that photo as critical and maybe even comment on why they put that photo in there. Okay. And again, it's just to keep everybody in the loop or be transparent with the office. Okay. Again, makes things really nice and easy. But as an administrator or as an ops manager or a division manager, okay, you guys can be looking at any given day to see what's going on or what's important, right? So Chris on the 8th, for instance, he uploaded a photo, okay? And well, I was doing some in-person training, but you can kind of see that. So again, I might mark that as being very, very important. But you guys can see all of that information, okay? We got a question here. I'm not sure if it was explained in other trainings, but how do we identify shop hours and where is it entered and what does it affect? Okay, well, Brett, good question. So in your accounts, okay, you guys are going to be creating what we call a shop job, okay? So it's unbillable, number one, okay, because you're not billing your customer for it. This could be things like loading and unloading a trailer or loading and unloading a truck, or maybe doing some mechanic work, okay, fixing some equipment, whatever the cases might be. Or maybe, you can set up a shop job for office staff, maybe when they're doing invoicing, when they're doing estimating, and so on and so forth, okay? But again, you're going to create a shop job in your accounts manually, okay, or create it from an estimate, but you really don't need to. We'll talk about that after we take a very short little break. And we might not actually take a break at this point, just because we're 11:30, we've got another half hour, and we'll probably just jump straight into that. But more importantly, create a shop job in your account and tasks, okay, based on what you want to track time against. Loading and unloading, prepping, repair work, okay, whatever the case may be, paperwork, reporting, again, whatever you guys decide, okay? And essentially your crew leads or your administrators could clock into that with the LMN Crew mobile app, okay, to track their time on that particular task, if it were. Does that make sense, Brett? Perfect. Good question, by the way. Okay. So now what we basically want to cover off here, guys, is we've kind of covered off all the automated things that are happening in LMN. And we've given you guys a little bit of an overview on the LMN Crew mobile app. So now what we want to kind of walk you through, and Brett, this might help you out, okay? Creating a job from scratch, okay? And again, if I'm not creating an estimate to create my job or to assist me in creating my job, how would I go about creating a job from scratch, okay? So essentially what we would need to do is in our LMN accounts, okay, jobs get created or stored, okay, in the main tool menu under jobs in your jobs list, okay? So when you guys are using your actual jobs list, okay, you can filter by any of the actual headings in any of the columns that are available. And we generally recommend that you filter your list by the date it's been created. So if you click on date created, that's the oldest job. And if I click it again, that's the newest job. Okay. So we know that's the one from November 19th or the one from yesterday. Okay. So we know that that job's been created. Now, if we have more jobs or we want to create another job, okay. Oh, and before I talk about that, okay, one thing I think you guys should know is when you guys are creating your jobs in LMN from estimates or from scratch, okay, we would generally recommend that you turn that contract feature on or that billing feature on for every single one of your jobs because, well, you have a job, you're going to bill for it, right? You have a filter at the very top of your page that will allow you to filter all your jobs that do not have invoicing turned on. Okay. So that way it's kind of like a check and balance so that you guys can see which of your jobs are not set up for billing that should be. Okay. So in my case, I've only got the one. So I would want to go into this job. Okay. This is a snow job. Okay. And I'm going to be doing snow removal and salting. Okay. For an hour, and the service is basically being billed by the hour. So it is billable. So I need to go into my invoicing feature and I need to set up the job for invoicing. Okay. But because I use this as an example, I'm going to leave it off for now. All right. But again, this is a good check and balance to make sure all your jobs are turned on for invoicing from your actual jobs list. Okay. Now, to create a job in your account, you're going to click the plus new button up in the top right-hand corner, and it's just like creating an estimate, okay? So if you guys remember creating estimates in your account, creating a job is not really that different to start with. So again, you're going to search for your customer or add the customer in from scratch, okay, and add it to your CRM. So in this case here, if I want the Johns residence again, because we love picking on Mark Johns, okay, I'm going to select him and we're going to be doing this at the cottage, okay, at 1285 Tiny Beaches Road. Now, this is going to be in a design build, okay, job, or it could be an enhancement, or it could be lawn care, or it could be a lawn renovation job, okay? So we're going to make it a lawn renovation job because the customer wants us to do a sod installation, okay? So we've got lawn renovation, track of time against our work areas and services, and this is part of our design build division or our enhancement division. Again, depending on how you guys have got your division set up, okay? We'll click on OK. So now we've got our lawn renovation job type. If we go into timesheet tracking and our punch in tasks, we've got nothing set up here yet, okay? Remember when you created a job from an estimate, all of that information, the work areas automatically came over. Well, now I don't have them. So I've got to add one in. So I'm going to click on plus task here now, and I'm going to add in sod installation. Okay. And in the notes, we're going to build this by the hour. Okay. And we're going to select a cost code for our design build division. Okay. And we're going to put in our notes for our crews. So customer would like 400 square feet of new sod laid in backyard only. Okay. Oops. There's no S in laid. Okay. Okay, so general materials on end task. Okay, estimated crew hours, we don't know because we're going to bill it by the hour, but we figure we could estimate out the number of hours for this, or we could just leave this at 0. Okay, so for now, we're going to do it in one visit. I'm going to click on save. Okay, so now I've got a warning that tells me you've got a task that has been set up for hourly billing, but you don't have an hourly task. Okay, so it's just a quick little reminder here to say, well, you now need to add in your hourly rate. So if I go to my hourly rates button, I click on my plus rates, and now I'm going to be doing, okay, it's either going to be lawn care, lawn renovation rate at $95 per hour. Okay, so again, that's $95 per man hour. Okay. Now I need to add in materials, okay, and equipment because again, no estimate, not automated. I need to put this in manually. So I'm going to go to my materials and equipment, click on that little plus button down the very bottom and add my equipment and materials from my price list. Now you'll notice when you click that little button, our labor items are not included when we're opening up our price list, right? Because we've already tracked that, okay? We've already assigned that. So all we need is our materials. So in this case here, I'm going to go sod, okay? And we're going to go sod per roll, okay? And then equipment, we're going to use our crew truck and our install trailer. So I'm just going to look for that piece. Crew truck and install trailer, okay? It has all of our gear on it, okay? So now I need to turn these on for billing, okay? Remember, I'm changing this from scratch. We're billing by the hour. So our truck and install trailer, okay, I can open this up. And for invoicing, okay, our unit cost is $130 or $180.60 per day, okay? We think it's probably only going to take us one day. So I'm going to put that in at $180, show the date, and show the date and time that we clocked out and make sure that it's taxable, okay? And sorry, make sure that it is billable based on a variable price, okay? Variable will track the hours that are reported against it for the overall day. But in this case, okay, we can do it by the actual day, right? So we're going to bill it at the $180. Next, we've got our sod per roll, okay? And again, under invoicing, we're going to bill this out per roll, and each roll is going to be $5, okay? Plus tax, and that's each layer of each roll of sod per roll. Click on save, okay? And finally, okay, in order to make sure that this job is complete, we're going to go to invoicing and we're going to activate our invoicing. Now, this part, guys, is really, really easy, okay? For time and material or flat rate priced billing jobs, there's not a whole lot involved with actually turning it on for invoicing. Your crews in the field, they're the ones that are going to be doing most of this work for us. So if I set up this job for invoicing, okay, and mark it as a install job, okay, and assign the cost code under our grounds maintenance or under our design build, okay, and click on save, that's all I need to do, okay? Everything else is going to be billed out, okay, by the actual crew tracking what they've used in the field, okay, automatically for us. This is all we need to do. The invoice will automatically generate for us. So it keeps it really easy. So Brett, what you guys can do in your account to track shop time, okay, or any internal time is create a shop job in your account. The address or the customer will be you. Okay, so make sure that you're added into your CRM or add yourselves to your CRM while you're doing it. Okay, and then just lay out the different tasks that you want to track time against. That's unproductive and unbillable. Okay, so again, keep that in mind when you guys are setting up a shop job in your account. Now, jobs are basically can be organized. Jobs in your jobs list are everywhere, right? It's all the jobs that you guys are going to be creating. Job groups help you guys to organize your jobs, but they can also do a couple little things more. There are two different types of job groups that you guys can use in your account. Standard job groups, which we would normally recommend for all of your divisional based jobs for reporting purposes, or routed job groups. So if your customers need you guys to do multiple sod installations for a day, you can put them into a route and then you can hit every single one of those customers and do all those sod installs. Okay, or mulch applications. Maybe you build those by time and material. Okay, whatever the case may be. Okay, but two different types of job groups that are available in your accounts. So how do you set one up and how do you add a job to an actual job group? So essentially in your LMN accounts, okay, again, back to LMN, In your LMN accounts, under the jobs menu, you have job groups, okay? Now, this is where you guys can create a job group or as many as you need, okay? So again, I have a demo job group, okay, which is a standard job group. So any demonstration which I'm going to include or I'm going to use for that job that we just created together, I'm going to put in this job group, okay? But if it was a scratch job, I could create a scratch job group. So these are all my jobs that we created from scratch, or these are all of my maintenance division jobs. These are all of my design build division jobs, and so on and so forth. Okay. Again, it keeps things really organized. So that way, when you're looking at your overall job list, okay, again, you can filter by, okay, what type of job is it? So if I look at my demo job group for right now, which is at the very top, okay, I can see which jobs are in there, and there's nothing in there right now. Actually, sorry, jobs with invoicing. There's the one job that's in there right now. Okay, so right now I can take that one out and I can substitute it with our new job that we just created. So to do that, I would go into my job list. Okay, I would look at all jobs or jobs with no groups. Okay, and we're going to look at this one here at 1285 Tiny Beach Road. This is the one that we just created for that sod installation, right? So there's our punch in tasks for the sod installation. I want to add it to a job group. So I'm going to go under my info and settings, click on job group, okay, and add it to my demo job group. Click on nice and easy or click on OK. Now, the reason why we also recommend that you guys use job groups, okay, again, very, very straightforward, very simple, okay, for you guys to be able to use these. But the reason why we recommend job groups is that most of our reports that you guys can run in LMN based on your jobs, based on timesheets, based on any job site activity can be run either by an individual job or they can be run by an actual grouping of jobs. So if I want to see all of my sod installation jobs for this quarter, I can run a report on that, or I can run a report on all my jobs or all my sod installations for the entire year. Okay, whatever the case may be. Okay, the other cool thing is that foremen can clock into the actual job via the job groups as well. So it's an easy way for them to be able to find it. So if I actually get into our crew app again, okay, and let me just turn my phone on, okay. Now what I can do is if I exit out of this screen and I say, what am I working on? Okay, everybody can see my screen, right? Let me just make sure I'm sharing. And okay, so we're sharing my screen. So now when I click on that, what are you working on button in the app, it will ask me, do I want to click on what I've got scheduled for today? Or do I want to click into a route and group? So if I click on route and group, okay, it will give me a listing of all the job groups that we've got available. I'm going to use that demo job group that we just talked about. And we know that we just created that sod installation at 1285 Tiny Beaches Road. There's my drive time task, so I can log my time driving from the yard over to the job site, or I can take a look at the actual task. In the task, I know that we've got specific instructions. This is Christian's cottage. She usually does yearly maintenance jobs, pre and post season. Okay, but if I go into the sod installation and look at the instructions, customer would like 400 square feet of new sod laid in the backyard only. Okay, very, very simplified. Okay, if you guys had any photos attached to the job, so the crew knows where they're doing the actual, maybe you've done a site visit. Okay, those would be available here under the job files. So again, all of that information is available for your crews. So if I clock into this and say that we were there at 8 a.m. Okay, and again, I'm only adjusting the time because we're now almost at noon and just want to make sure we're on point here. But now that we've been there since 8 a.m., okay, and I've started my time, there's my instructions again. We can start our task. We can see that we're billing out at the lawn renovation rate, okay, of $95 per hour. Okay, and we're now clocked in. Okay, so if I go back to daily review, okay, or under the timesheets tool and take a look at daily review, okay, I can look at today, for instance, and see that Chris is at 1285 Tiny Beaches Road since 8 a.m. We know that it's got light rain and 8 degrees. So again, remember, weather comments automatically populate. Chris didn't have to put that information in there. It's automatically populated. Additionally, I can see using our live crew tracking, or job tracking where Chris is. So if I go to live crew tracking, okay, I can see that there's Jeremy, okay? And if I want to look at all staff, where are they? Okay, I can see where Chris is by clicking on this map, okay? This is where the job site is. This is where Chris currently is, okay? So again, this is live crew tracking, okay? Again, if we want to look at live job tracking, okay, again, you can go into your actual tools menu. We can look at a job group of the demo jobs. Okay, so we know that we've got those 2 demo jobs. If I want to get more detailed information on that demo job, because we do have somebody accurately working on it right now, I can click on it. I can see that Chris is on it as of 8 o'clock this morning with some light rain and only 47 degrees Fahrenheit or 8 degrees Celsius, right? So it's not exactly super warm out, but it's not really cold, okay? So again, this is all available for you guys, okay? But that GPS feature needs to be turned on, okay, in the actual LMN Crew mobile app, or else this will not work for you guys and you will not be able to get any of that data, okay? So guys, that essentially is job creation, okay? And that is basically our session for today, okay? So to recap everything that we've covered off here today, and we've covered a lot, okay? Essentially, okay, we learn how to create a job from an estimate. That is the absolute easiest way for you guys to create your jobs because, again, it's an automated process. All the information and importancy of what you included in your proposal will now be included in your actual job for you. We also learn how to create a job from scratch because from time to time, this will need to be done. We showed you the actual crew tracking feature in LMN so that you can see at any given time, whether it's the daily review or using the actual live job and crew tracking features, okay, where the crew is, where they said they were when they clocked in, and so on and so forth. You can see how the overall progress of the job is taking place by using our live job tracking feature. And of course, with some of the reports and analytics that are available with LMN, you guys can actually report by the actual job groups, by the job itself, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there is tons of features available with jobs in LMN. Now, if you have any additional questions about anything that I've covered off here today, again, please feel free to hit that chat menu at the very bottom of your screen. While you guys are thinking about that, if you guys can do me a favor, okay, and talk or kind of go through this little 3-question survey, okay, and answer the questions with what you guys have learned today about job creation, it would be very much appreciated. So I'm going to leave this up for a few minutes to let you guys go ahead and answer some of these questions for us. Now, while you guys are doing that, at the same time, remember that in your LMN accounts, you have access to every single one of our live virtual trainings. So please, if there's something that you guys want to learn about, or maybe you've got a colleague that should be learning about a feature that's available in LMN, get them signed up, okay? The live virtual training calendar will show you guys the dates and times of every single live virtual training from here until, I believe, the end of Christmas, or till Christmas. Okay, so till the end of December are all populated on our page right now, okay? Additionally, okay, Mark Bradley is currently on the road hosting some workshops about business growth transformation. So his next 2 available sessions will be available in Detroit, Michigan from December 2nd to 3rd and Boston, Massachusetts from December 5th to 6th. Okay, so again, if you're looking at improving your overall business growth, okay, check this session out. It's a 2-day session with the man himself, okay? Additionally, if you guys want to learn a little bit more about some of the features that we talked about today, check out our help desk and also check out our LMN Academy to watch short little videos about everything that we've talked about in our session. So, oh, I see we've got a question here. We noticed that we have 2 webinars on November 28th. Is that correct, as this is Thanksgiving in the US? Okay, so Mike, yes, we do understand that those are, so that's next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's your US Thanksgiving. It's fine that you are registered for them, okay? Keep in mind that as long as you are registered for a training session, we just make sure that you still receive a copy of it because we will have Canadian customers online with us that day, and they will probably partake in it live. Okay, so again, we just want to make sure that if you are registered for that event or you are registered for that session, that you at least receive a copy of that session via email afterwards. Okay, so again, thank you for bringing that up, but we want to make sure that it gets recorded, okay, and that you get a copy of it. So if you can't make it, you can't make it because it's Thanksgiving, and I'm sure there's probably a really huge football game. I'm Canadian, so I apologize. It's, you know, we already had our Grey Cup, which is our big Super Bowl of Canadian football. Toronto won, yay! More to the point, enjoy your time off. Okay, so appreciate that. Cody, please explain again where we can access these recorded trainings. So Cody, keep in mind that you are going to get every one of our recordings that you are signed up for via email after every session. So this session that you were registered for today, you are going to receive a copy of it. If you go into our into our academy, okay, so if you access the LMN Academy in your help and resources menu, you also have access to all of our sessions there as well. Okay, so you guys can see all of our sessions in their order, okay, in the actual LMN Academy as well. Okay, so hopefully that will help you out. But Cody, just make sure you're registered for an event. And if you can't make it, we'll make sure that you get a copy of that recording. All right. So thank you, everybody, on attending today, and we do really appreciate it. And let me just check my poll here. Thank you very much for answering some of my questions. So on behalf of all of us here at LMN, I just want to say thank you for you guys joining me today. Stay well. And if you're heading out into the field at any time, please stay safe. All right. And I look forward to seeing you guys again in one of our next sessions. All right. So take care, everybody. And that's enough for me. I'm going to go have some lunch. All right. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.